Hi, my name is Sean.
And I'm Amber.
And welcome back to our podcast.
Today we will be talking about Salvia. Salvinorin A, which is a hallucinogen that comes from Salvia Divinorum, a plant native to Sierra Mazateca and
Oaxaca, Mexico.
Salvia Divinorum belongs to the Lamiaceae plant family. The plant is similar to sage, which is why it's commonly referred to as diviner's sage. This hallucinogen is very unique compared to other typical hallucinogens. Its effects are vastly different and stronger than others. In fact, some researchers are trying to truly understand its effects on the nervous system. One research article is about whether its effects can be compared to the likes of LSDs or marijuana, which brings up the following question. Can this drug and its effects be identified to the likes of LSD or marijuana?
Additionally, the main ingredient found in Salvia Divinorum, Salvinorin A, is a hallucinogen as well as a very potent kappa opioid receptor, also known as KOR, agonist. There's a distinct difference in terms of effects Salvinorin A has as a hallucinogen compared to its classic hallucinogen counterparts. Namely, Salvinorin A targets the KOR, whilst classic hallucinogens like LSDs or psilocybin target serotonin receptors. The reason being that Salvinorin A is a dipropanoid, making it structurally distinct from most known opioid receptor ligands, which mostly contain nitrogen. Essentially, Salvinorin A is the first non-nitrogenous ligand. It represents its own class of kappa opioids and has no resemblances due to its unique structure. To compare its effects, we're going to be discussing classic hallucinogens versus salvia, how they interact in the nervous system. So firstly, in terms of classic hallucinogens, who primarily act as agonists, they specifically target and activate serotonin receptors. They mimic the structure of serotonin, allowing them to bind to these receptors in the brain, altering neural activity and inducing hallucinatory states. On the other hand, KOR, when activated by agonists, primarily induce analgesia, specifically targeting internal visceral pain while causing dysphoria, sedation, and hallucinations. It interacts with the nervous system by selectively binding to KORs in the brain and spinal cord, initiating a cascade of effects that produce intense, short-lived, dissociative, and hallucinogenic experiences.
Firstly, almost every effect that this drug causes is very strong. There are both intense physiological and behavioral effects when taking this drug. Perceptual changes such as distorted reality, altered sense of space, hallucinations, and struggling to determine what is real and what is not. When taking this drug, you may also experience disassociation, which is feeling completely disconnected from your own body, your identity, or environment. Although these effects sound typical compared to other hallucinogens, many users have told stories about their experiences, most of them being unpleasant. For example, an individual reported that they turned into a doorknob for 22 years during their trip. Others have said they lived a whole life with a family and kids during a 5-minute trip. The altered perception of time is what most people find unpleasant about their experience, because it can have psychological effects on an individual even after their trip. In these cases, people can experience discomfort, anxiety, confusion, and panic compared to the euphoric sensations people chase when taking drugs.
We find that the research was fair in considering that some participants could have been misinformed on the drugs they were taking, which could have led to inaccurate findings of how closely related marijuana and salvia truly are. We believe that salvia's effects, although sharing similarities to both marijuana and LSDs, are in its own separate category based on its unique structure. Further research could be done in order to correctly identify or sort out its legitimate classification. However, this remains limited due to experiments done only on mice or non-human primates for the time being. Thank you for listening. This was Sean
And Amber.
signing off.
Bye!